This is the episode the comments always demand, and it is the one that has to be built most carefully, because the honest answer is not the satisfying one. In the spring of 2010, a rider rode away from the best one-day racer of his generation on a Belgian cobbled climb. Footage of it went around the world. A rumor started that afternoon, which has now outlived the careers of everybody involved. 15 years later, here is where that rumor actually stands. No charge was ever brought. No violation was ever established. And the two men who started it have both, publicly, taken it back. Start with the race, because the racing is real, and it is the reason any of this happened. The 2010 Tour of Flanders. On the Muur van Gerardsbergen, with 16 kilometers to go, Fabian Cancellara accelerated away from Tom Boonen and rode to the finish alone, winning by 75 seconds. A week later, he won Paris-Roubaix as well. That double, in that manner, is one of the great classics campaigns in the sport's history. Then two separate things happened, and they are usually merged into one, which is where the confusion begins. The first was a television demonstration. Davide Cassani, a former professional and later the Italian national coach, appeared on the Italian public broadcaster RAI and demonstrated a bicycle fitted with a concealed motor. He rode it. He showed what it could do. It was a technology explainer. The second was a video analysis, posted online by an Italian journalist named Michele Bufalino, which set footage of the Flanders acceleration alongside that demonstration and invited viewers to draw a conclusion. It has been watched millions of times since. That is the origin of the entire rumor. A demonstration that a thing was possible, and a video that placed a rider's performance next to it. Cancellara's response was immediate, and it has never changed. Speaking to the Belgian newspaper Het Nieuwsblad, he said the claim was so stupid he was speechless, and that he had never had batteries on his bike. His feats, he said, were the result of hard work. The governing body looked at it and said there was no case against him. Its own technical chief at the time, Jean Wattier, put the practical argument plainly. The risk was simply too big, for the rider, for his team, and for the bike manufacturers, and a champion of that standing would not take it. His mechanic that season, Rune Christensen, was blunter still. If there had been an engine hidden in a bike, he said, he would have discovered it. It would not have been possible to miss it. Commissaires inspected the bicycle. Nothing was found. No proceedings were ever opened. No charge was ever brought, and no violation was ever established, then or at any point since. He was still answering the question 9 years later. Speaking to Belgian television in April of 2019, long after he had retired, he said he did not need to prove anything to anybody, and that he had proved for 10 years that he could ride at that level. He also said the allegations had hurt. That is worth sitting with for a moment, because it is the part of these stories that never makes the thumbnail. A rumor with no finding behind it does not expire. It follows somebody into retirement, and it is still the first thing a television interviewer asks about a decade later. 5 years later, the same rumor attached itself to a different race. At the 2015 Giro d'Italia, after a mountain stage, questions were raised about the timing of Alberto Contador's bike changes. The governing body examined 5 riders' machines that day, including Contador's, and the inspection was filmed. They pulled the bottom bracket out of the frame on camera. They found nothing at all. Contador called the motor talk a joke and something from the world of science fiction, and explained the bike changes in ordinary mechanical terms, as decisions about tubulars, bearings, and stiffer wheels. He has since gone further than most on the subject, saying publicly that a lifetime suspension must be the only verdict for mechanical doping, with no pardon. In 2017, the story returned in print. The retired American professional Phil Gaiman wrote in his autobiography that Cancellara's Classics wins did not look natural to him, and speculated in crude terms that a motor was involved. Cancellara's lawyers demanded the publishers immediately stop distributing and selling the book, and his manager demanded a public apology. No legal action was ever filed. Cancellara instead challenged Gaiman to a race. Gaiman's own account of what he had done is worth quoting, because it is a retreat. He said he had repeated a rumor that was well documented and many years old, and had presented it as such, and that what he said was far from an accusation. Tom Boonen, the writer dropped on the moor, has given two answers to this question over the years, and both belong in the same breath. Asked directly in 2018 whether Cancellara had used a motor, he answered yes, before immediately adding that it was not for him to say, that it was very difficult to prove because nobody has the bicycle to check, and that it was too late. Then, in December of 2024, he pulled back further. He said he did not know what was true either, that he had his thoughts, and that he would keep them to himself. An opinion, offered and then withdrawn, is not evidence. It never was. And it is worth naming the structural reason this particular rumor cannot die, because it is not really about any of these riders. A claim of this kind is built so that nothing can ever settle it. If the bicycle is examined and nothing is found, the answer is that the motor was removed. If the rider denies it, that is what a guilty person would say. If officials clear him, the officials are protecting the sport. If a mechanic says it was impossible to hide, the mechanic was in on it. Every possible piece of evidence, including the total absence of evidence, gets folded back in as confirmation. That is not an argument about cycling. It is the shape of a claim that has been designed, accidentally, to be unfalsifiable. And an unfalsifiable claim will run forever, because there is nothing that could ever end it. Which brings us to the part of this story almost nobody knows, and it is the reason this video exists. Both men who started the rumor have publicly disowned it. Davide Cassani, whose television demonstration provided the technical half, has said that he had always believed Cancellara to be an extraordinary rider, and that he has no doubts about his performance in 2010. He has said the demonstration was purely to show that such a thing was possible, and that he has not a clue whether motors were ever actually used. Michele Bufalino, who made the video that turned a possibility into an accusation in the public mind, has said he hopes Cancellara continues to prove himself a great rider. The man who showed it could be done says he never doubted the rider. The man who made the video says he hopes the rider goes on proving people wrong. If you want this subject handled through the record rather than the rumor, subscribe to the Peloton Files. So here is the state of the evidence, stated as plainly as it can be. Fabian Cancellara has never been charged with, sanctioned for, or found to have committed any technological fraud. Neither has Alberto Contador, whose bicycle was taken apart on camera in front of the world. Neither has any other professional road cyclist, ever, in the history of the sport. The absence of proof is not proof of absence, and this video will not pretend otherwise. Nobody can prove what was not inside a bicycle frame in 2010, because nobody has that bicycle. But a rumor is not a finding. A video analysis is not evidence. And when the two people who created the suspicion have both spent the years since saying they never believed it, what is left is not a cover-up. It is just a story that got away from everybody, and has been repeated ever since by people who never checked what happened to it.